Hello and welcome to the final video of the series on verbal presentations. We'll talk about Big Day and discuss how you're going to do just fine. And it will be fine provided you think carefully about the issues we've discussed and take a professional approach to presenting. It's natural to be nervous. Public speaking is not something that comes naturally to most people, but with good planning and research you too can become a successful presenter. In part one of this video series, we talked about the importance of practice and iterative development in helping you understand and know your presentation. Understanding your presentation is a big key to success. Remember the importance of rehearsal? Don't just turn up on the day and expect everything to work. Make sure you understand everything you want to put on your slides. Several years ago, a student said during a presentation, "These bacteria are facultative anaerobes." Okay, you can guess what my first question was. The student didn't know. Had he known, that would have been great. Not knowing was less than great. If you put something in a slide you don't understand, then you can almost guarantee you will be asked about it. So make sure you understand everything that's put on the slides. Having said that, you should relax. It is going to be fine. This is easier said than done, you might be saying to yourself. Bear in mind the staff want you to succeed. They'll mark you fairly within the marking scheme for the assignment. Staff will comment positively on the good aspects of your presentation. Any critical comments will be made from the point of view of helping you improve future presentations. In both cases, make sure you pay attention to this feedback. More on that in a moment. The audience will want you to succeed as well. After all, they will be presenting later if they haven't already done so. This is a reminder of what we said before, and I think it's always worth reiterating this. It's a slide from the first video in the series. It has a few bullet points. This is what I said. There's obviously quite a lot in here, probably a bit more than you might want to have to remember for a live verbal presentation. This is possibly what is a narrated presentation, and I'm reading from notes. Narrated presentations are a bit outside the scope of this series, but if you are interested, we'll probably be talking about them, certainly my food students and extended science students. This links to a short series on how to prepare them if you're interested. Now there comes the question of who you are. The identity of Pulp Fiction hero Segregation X, the man of 1,000 faces, was never revealed, and unfortunately this is occasionally the case with some students. They turn up, they don't tell the audience who they are, and often what their presentation is about. In some cases they spend the entire presentation looking away from the audience, muttering and waving at the screen. This is normally nerves, and we can't help with that. Talk to members of staff if you're worried. They'll be happy to talk to you and think about strategies which will help you. As I've said before, staff understand that presentations can be a bit tough. Getting the basics right will help you succeed. So in this case, face the audience, introduce yourself, and tell them the title of your presentation. Then you'll be off to a really good start. Most people don't like being the centre of attention. As a presenter, you are in that situation. However, you should bear in mind again the audience are actually looking at the slides, not you. They'll be listening to you, of course, but most of the time their visual attention will be on the slides. We've discussed how useful rehearsal is, especially if you record your presentation. This helps you be confident. You'll be able to give the presentation in a timely, well-paced way. That way you'll avoid running or not using up all of your time. The second point is important. If your 5-minute presentation takes 2 minutes, it is unlikely that you will have covered the topic in enough depth. For a 5-minute presentation, for example, you will now be given it a discreet warning when there is 1 minute left. In some cases, at the discretion of the staff, you may be allowed 1 minute extra. This will not always be the case, and you would be instructed to stop speaking in any case after that minute was over. The audience wants to hear what you have to say. In your rehearsals, spend some time thinking about speaking clearly. You don't need a megaphone, just your voice. If you're speaking in a large room, a microphone may be available. If it is, you might want to check that you know where to stand to use it effectively. Similarly, tight-clip microphones will need to be placed correctly. In large lecture theatres, technicians will normally be available to assist. Have a think about how the lecturer speaks to you when giving a lecture especially to a large group, and how they sound in normal conversation. In most cases, professional speakers like lecturers will have different lecturing and normal voices. When lecturing, they tend to speak more slowly and probably with more volume. Be prepared. Bring your files on a USB flash drive. No one really uses CDs these days, and modern computers often don't have a CD or DVD drive. It's a really good idea to back up your files in a friend's flash drive and put theirs on yours. Some flash drives feel the need to install themselves and plug it into a computer. If yours does this, I'd suggest you get one that doesn't. This can be very time consuming and occasionally may not work. You should also not rely on being able to access files stored on a network or in an email. Our systems normally work, but they do occasionally go down, so don't be caught out. Bring your files on at least one flash drive. Staff are often asked about dress codes for presentations. This does depend on the nature of the audience as much as anything else. If the presentation is just a module group, the staff and the students you normally meet, the normal dress is normally fine. If there are people from outside the university, then you should be dressing more smartly. And if you are presenting outside the university, that is certainly something you should be doing. Having said that, there are limitations to how casual dress should be, even when the presentation is informal. A few years ago, a student in one group gave his presentation while wearing a reversed red baseball cap. Leaving aside the sartorial issues around reversed red baseball caps, especially when worn indoors, this suggests to the staff that the student was not taking their assignment seriously, and this was reflected in the professionalism element of his marks. Questions. Again, remember, staff want you to succeed. During questions, they will make sure you understand your topic and you've done good background reading. These are the basic rules. Don't rush your answer. Consider what you want to say before speaking. If you aren't sure what the question means, ask for clarification. If you don't know the answer to a question, say so. Trying to waffle your way out of a question you can't answer is a recipe for disaster. Your audience has been listening attentively to your presentation and the Q&A session. During and immediately after the presentation, the staff will make notes and think about your performance. As soon as possible after the presentation session, staff meet to discuss the presentations and agree marks. This is known as moderating the marks. The marks and feedback are collected in a feedback form. On the food programs, we often video presentations and Q&A sessions. These videos are normally made available to students, for example via Blackboard, and can help with reflection on their performance. And can be useful if you want to pick up any immediate feedback given by staff. Don't worry, no one outside the group can access these videos. With large groups, it usually isn't practical for staff to video presentations. But with permission, there's no reason why you shouldn't set up a system to video your own presentation if you want to. But ask permission first. This is a typical feedback form for a presentation. Checking relevant module handbooks. The form should be included in the assessment information. Note that some of the categories about the quality of the presentation. This is where we assess your communication and professional skills. Other categories are used to feedback on your discussion, your understanding of the material, and how well you were able to discuss it. You'll normally get feedback from presentations quite quickly, and don't forget the verbal feedback already mentioned given at the end of your presentation. And as usual, you should use feedback to improve your performance, such as, for example, by feeding into a SWOT analysis. Okay, that's all for now. This completes this series. I hope this has been useful to you. Thanks for listening.